Hey guys, Chef Mark here. Today we're going to make for you a spezzatino, and really it's a fancy word for a stew with beef in it, little pieces. So stew beef seems appropriate, so we're going to grab that. Need 2 pounds of this. This is a little bit tougher, so the longer cooking time that we're going to work with this is going to make it really nice and tender. All right, you can't have a great beef stew without a really good potato to go along with it. We're gonna grab the baby reds here. You can also grab the whites as well. The nice thing about these is they're really nice thin skin, so you don't have to peel it. Lots more nutrients that way. These will be perfect. All right, the last ingredients I'm gonna buy for our dish is gonna be our tomatoes here. So I've got crushed tomatoes here that are cooked with a little bit of salt, some Italian herbs in it, and I've also got some coarse ground tomatoes. Put these together, they're going to be the right consistency that I'm looking for in our dish. Let's go put this together. So putting this spezzatino together takes a couple steps, but it's fairly easy to do. So I've got 2 pounds of beef here. We're going to coat this with our pan-searing flour. And we're going to put it in the pan. So we're going to add the oil to this. And then we're going to go in with a piece at a time here. Into the pan, we're going to sear that beef. Let's go about half of that at a time because we don't want to overcrowd the pan. And we're going to brown this beef until it gets really nice and brown on all sides. And we're going to flip it over and do it back in batches. Put your beef back on the plate while you're waiting on the next batch. It'll be good. So now I'm going to take the last little pieces of our beef here, and we did it in batches, in there, and every one of these sides is gorgeous brown to build up a lot of flavor in there. I'm going to take my rosemary and my mirepoix, put that inside, along with my potatoes. And we're going here, we're going to cook this for a couple minutes just to start pulling some of the flavor out of the mirepoix, which is the reason why we have it. For a braise, we're taking a tough cut of meat here, and we're going to make it tender, but we're going to cook it in a flavorful liquid. So we've taken all that beef drippings that are on the bottom here, browned it off. Some of the moisture from the mirepoix is going to start to pick that off the bottom. You brown your mirepoix slightly if you feel like it. And then I'm going to introduce some of our liquid to it. So we're going to bring in our red wine. Once you add that liquid in there, feel free to crank that up on high if you wanted to. Because all we're going to do here is we're going to reduce that liquid probably about half or even towards the point where it gets dry. That's going to concentrate the flavor of the red wine, and it's going to allow us to get all those little bits of protein off the bottom of that. Okay, now that my wine's reduced a little bit, I'm going to add my tomatoes to this. And like I mentioned before, I've got 2 different types of tomatoes. I've got some coarse ground here, and I've also got some crushed tomatoes. So a little bit of texture in those, which is why I use the variety. And then I've got a cup of our beef culinary stock. My heat's still on, and then I got to add back my beef to this, along with all that juice. Don't discard that stuff. Keep all that juice in there. It's all the flavor coming out of your meat. Make sure you grab all that. So we're going to add some salt and pepper to this because we're going to put this in an oven for about 1 hour and 45 minutes, and we need to make sure that that liquid is seasoned. So things like tomatoes and the beef stock doesn't have salt and pepper in it, or at least not a lot, so that we want to flavor all the beef as it cooks in that liquid. You don't want to cook it in a liquid that doesn't have the flavor into it. So we want to allow it to permeate. So just bring to a simmer. I'm there now. We start to see some of those bubbles. Put the lid on. We're going to go 350 for 1 hour and 45 minutes. And then we're going to pull it out. It's going to be nice and fork tender. All right, 1 hour and 45 minutes later, here's where we're at. I'm going to come out of the oven. And bring this sucker over here. And one more addition to this. We're going to take our 1 package of our peas and pearl onions, which have been thawed already. You can even bump in the microwave just to heat them up a little bit through here. But for me, once I add them to this, if I happen to let this sit for like 2 minutes by the time I get to the plate, these are really nice and heated through. Plenty done. And what you're going to notice about this, one is that initial blast of rosemary and some of those good beef flavors in there. But also you're going to look at your potatoes. Those are nice and soft at this point, perfectly cooked. And even that beef, as you spoon it out of here, is nice and falling apart, perfectly tender. And the last thing to do is grab a piece of crusty bread right here, ready to tuck into this sucker. And you know what? I might even use this spoon to get at it. You guys enjoy this one.